I'm doing my speech on hearing aids, their history, and how they work. Jude Law said most people take their hearing for granted, that is, until they lose it. Just like the water and everything, we take it, just keep using it and using it and using it. Eventually, when it's all gone, you have no idea what to do anymore. So you have to get the hang of understanding that not everything lasts your whole life, you know. Technology has become so advanced that many small advancements go unnoticed, like the hearing aid, for example. In my opinion, the hearing aid is one of the most remarkable technological advances in pretty much all of this stuff. As somebody who's like myself, spending my entire life using hearing aids, I never really understood how they work or how they're made or where they came from until I did this speech. So, but before we can get into where they're at now, like how amazing they've become, we have to go back all the way to where they started, which is in the 1600s when hearing aids were a trumpet. Like, you know, in the Western movies where you see those guys wearing the big old thing, they were in the 1600s. They were highly popular and commonly used. The earliest trumpets were fashioned from animal horn and seashells and glass before common metals such as brass and copper came along. They were wide at the end, so when you talk, they collect the sound, and then they narrow down into your ear, so they direct the sound into the ear canal. One of the biggest well-known users of the trumpet was Ludwig van Beethoven. Yeah, okay. He used it when he was in his concerts. He used it when he was talking to people. He used it all the time. An article that I read on Beltone.com in the 1700s, there was a device that they created that goes on the back of your ear, was fan-shaped, and it was placed behind the ear and transmitted sounds with vibration through the skull to the brain. So that was one of the earliest hearing aids from what we have today. In the 1800s, they actually tried to begin to conceal the hearing aid, and so they became more of a decorative device. So if you look at if you look at the pictures and everything, you'll see people wearing stuff with like glitter or rocks and stuff, like decorations on it. Members, like people of high class, royalty, kings, queens, they had a chair, a throne, and on the throne they had two trumpets, well, they weren't really trumpets, but they were like pipes or whatever. And they would go into the chair and come up to right where the ears are and send the vibrations into your ears so you can hear what the people were saying to you. In the 1900s, electricity came out, and Alexander Graham Bell's telephone was invented. So it ushered a new generation of the hearing aid that electronically amplifies sound through a carbon microphone and a battery. That battery was pretty much the size of that cell phone or that one, and it was on a box, in a big box that you put on you wore around your neck, and it was on but it only lasted like maybe 2-3 hours at a time, so you had to constantly change it, recharge it, and use it all. And it was heavy, it weighed maybe 5-10 pounds. Wires were coming out of it, and then you had these little things that you put in your ears so they talk. Go up, and you can hear people. In the 1950s, battery miniaturization began. So battery went from that big battery to smaller and smaller and smaller from there. And during the 1950s, the invention of the transistor changed the hearing aid. The transistor gave the hearing aid the ability to switch between two different modes, two different stages, which was on and off. And that transistor was used 2 years before the radio actually started using the transistor. In the mid-1990s, digital hearing technology began to rule the hearing deaf world. Digital circuitry allowed sound to be amplified, reduced, filtered, and directed as needed. So if you lived like in a quiet area, they would adjust your hearing aid to where you could only hear people and other sounds wouldn't be bothering you. If you worked a lot and lived in a loud environment, they would adjust it to where the loud sounds was quiet and the people were loud, so you can understand easier. Now we get into the 21st century, which is from 2000 to now. So with the advancements in the machinery and the way to create hearing aids, step by step how they're made is you go to an audiologist or a hearing aid dispenser, which they put silicone mold inside of your ear to make the imprint of how your inside of your ear is. They take that mold, send it to the manufacturer of the hearing aid, and they'll shave it up, polish it, and sand it, make it flat and smooth. And then they have a machine, ultraviolet oven, where they'll have an imprint of the, so the mold is what the audiologist made. When they send it to the manufacturer, they'll adjust it, change it, everything like this. And then they have an imprint where this goes in, and it goes into the ultraviolet oven, and it will shape up the box, everything. Then they'll drill holes into it, put the electrical components inside of it, such as the volume, the mic, and the speaker. The wires, and then they'll attach wires to all the electronic parts and then put the battery inside of it. They polish it, smooth it, and then analyze it and adjust the levels of volume to fit the patient's prescription. There are 4 different types of hearing aids. One, there's ITE, which is in the ear, ITC, which is in the canal, CIC, which is completely in the canal, and BTE, which is behind the ear, which is the one that I use. ITE is large, it works well with mid to severe hearing loss, and it fits completely inside of the ear, which is what a lot of old people use. ITC is custom fit, it fits inside of the ear as well, but it's customized to fit your ear perfectly. CIC is barely visible because it goes way inside of the ear and it has a wire to remove it, and it only works for mild to moderate hearing loss. BTE, which is the most common of all of them, is ear mold and the wires and the little box behind your ear, and it's for pretty much every single type of hearing loss there is. Hearing aids they've come a long way from being those big old trumpets to extremely small devices such as the ones that we have today. So it's like they took the radio and just put it inside of here, except you're not listening to music, you're listening to the world. So even though cell phones are one of the biggest advancements, in my opinion, the incredible advancements and improvements of the hearing aid will always be one of the greatest. In an article I read on chchearing.com, there's an estimated 38 million Americans that are either deaf or hard of hearing. A large majority of those Americans wear hearing aids. I hope that this knowledge that I shared with you will one day influence you to help somebody with a hearing disability. And thank you for your attention. You stay classy.